presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game. Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day, and I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck athletics.
We will do that with Oregon football head coach Dan Lanning after today's practice in just a moment. Dusty Hera checking in from the Oregon football sidelines. Also, we'll hear from a number of Oregon football student athletes. We will review the basketball season opener last night. All that matters, the most important number, 1-0. Go Ducks! Let's go! That's all that matters. We got the Oregon Football Coaches Show coming your way tonight. Chris Hampton, co-defensive coordinator, defensive backs coach, going to join us. We will also hear from Isaiah World, Duck offensive lineman. Those are our two guests at 7 o'clock tonight across the Oregon Sports Network. You can watch on the Oregon Football social media channels. Hope that you'll join us tonight for the Oregon Football Coaches Show. The first college football playoff rankings came out last night. The Oregon football team is number 9 in the first CFP rankings. Oregon, one of 3 Big Ten teams in the initial CFP top 12, along with number 1 Ohio State, number 2 Indiana, and one of 7 in the top 25. Your CFP top 25 is as follows. Ohio State, Indiana, number 3 Texas A&M, 4 Bama, 5 Georgia, 6 Ole Miss, 7 BYU, 8 Texas Tech, 9 Oregon, 10 Notre Dame. Then rapid fire. Texas, Oklahoma, Utah, Virginia, Louisville, Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Miami, USC, Iowa, Michigan, Missouri, Washington State, Pittsburgh, Tennessee. I almost said Missouri State. That would have been fun. Did I say Washington State? That one might have been intentional. The Huskies are, in fact, number 23. Oregon sitting at number 9. And it is a top 20 battle at Iowa. Hawkeyes at 6-2, number 20 Hawkeyes hosting the Ducks at 12:30 coming up on Saturday. Televised on CBS, we will have a 10:30 pregame show for you across the Oregon Sports Network. 12:30, Oregon at Iowa. Number 9 at number 20. That's the marquee game of the week. Ducks will have a few potential award winners on the field. Oregon inside linebacker Bryce Betcher announced yesterday afternoon as a semifinalist for the 2025 Butkus Award. The Butkus Award is presented annually to the nation's most outstanding linebacker. Also, Mateo Uiagalelei, outside linebacker, named a semifinalist for the Lombardi Award. The Lombardi Award is given to the top college lineman or linebacker who embodies the discipline, character, and excellence of legendary coach Vince Lombardi. And Oregon defensive back Brandon Finney Jr. was announced today as one of 12 semifinalists for the 2025 Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year Award, presented to the most outstanding freshman player in college football. Duck defense has some studs. Duck defense has stars throughout. The thing is, so does Iowa. Consistent defense under Kirk Ferentz, head coach, longtime head coach now for the Hawkeyes. Preview tomorrow. Join us for a conversation with the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin. First, Gary's awesome. Second, you'll like what you hear about the matchup between Oregon and Iowa coming up, number 9 at number 20. Speaking of awards, though, how about this cross-country team for the Ducks? Today, Oregon head coach Shalane Flanagan selected as the Big Ten Coach of the Year. Last year's Big Ten Coach of the Year, Flanagan guided Oregon to its second straight Big Ten championship this year. The Ducks tallied 18 points. Remember, it's like golf. You want to go low in cross-country. The Ducks tallied 18 points, the record for the lowest points ever recorded in a women's Big Ten championship. 4 of the top 5 finishers were Ducks, including the winner. I got to tell you, when you talk about domination in a sport and in a conference championship, this one is on the top of the list, I think, right now. 4 of the top 5 finishers were Ducks. Diana Cheritage finished with a time of 19:31.3 in the women's 6K. And under Flanagan, the Ducks also won the Bill Dellinger Invitational earlier this season. Shalane Flanagan, back-to-back Big Ten Coach of the Year. How about a National Coach of the Year coming up? The Ducks did the double. The men and the women of Oregon both brought home those cross-country crowns. Gosh, Tracktown USA. It just never gets old. Before the Oregon Football Coaches Show tonight, let's check in with Dan Lanning. Every time we meet with the Oregon football head coach, it's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Dan Lanning getting us ready for that road trip to Iowa, 12:30 kick on Saturday.
So really good challenge this week, especially with these guys in the red area and third down area. It was good for us to be able to attack that, and anxious to get out there on the field. It's been a good week of practice so far.
Yeah, just you guys have done a lot with explosive passes. You've talked about the desire to have 2 explosive passes attempts a quarter. What does a guy like Malik do against a defense in Iowa? He's been really great at limiting those plays. Yeah,
I mean, it's tough when you have an opportunity for a one-on-one. You want to be able to go win it, but they do a good job of applying pressure and having hands-on, so it's a real challenge. But Malik's proven to be a guy who can take the top off. Got to be able to take advantage of it if we get the chance.
Yeah, it hasn't been quite as productive the last 2 or 3 games. I'm curious what you've seen there and maybe what the key is to getting him kind of going.
Yeah, I think he's a productive player. Some games are different than others. You know, it's part of it's probably some of the games that we've played in and what we played in. But he's been a really productive player here for a long time. I'm counting on him to continue to develop there.
In the season and a half in the Big Ten so far, Dan, whatever you thought of when you heard Big Ten football entering the league and now in it now for a season and a half, what would you say was like the most prototypical Big Ten game that you've been a part of? There's been a couple, but from your perspective, what would you say is that game?
I don't know. I mean, this league's it's got more variety than people realize, so every week's a little bit different. But this is certainly one. When I talk about Iowa, you talk about a team that has an identity, and if they've had an identity for a long time. Ever since Coach Ferentz has been there, it's been really clear. You know, they're going to play great defense, be really good on special teams, be physical in the run game, you know, and be able to take advantage of shots and opportunities there. This team certainly has an identity, I'll say that.
How much admiration do you have for a coach who's been a mainstay there? He was the offensive line coach in 1989, the last time you guys played there. He's been there for so long. Like, how much admiration do you just have for somebody doing it that way?
Yeah, he's a legend. I mean, Coach Ferentz is a legend. And to do it the way he's done it, right, his way. But anybody that can be somewhere, as long as he's been there, that tells you he's doing something right, and he's done it right for a long, long time. And just got a lot of respect for him.
And just sticking with Coach Ferentz, when preparing for a coach, to face a coach like that, the most winningest coach in the Big Ten, how much does his track record of finding ways to win games kind of influence your game prep and in-game decision making?
Yeah, there's a huge body of work, right, to really look at. You don't just look at last year's games. You don't just look at this year's games. You look at the history of, you know, what he's been able to do over time. It gives you a chance to dig a little bit and probably chase ghosts a little bit too, where you're trying to figure out what it could be because they've had enough variety over time. But ultimately, again, what's clear is there's an identity in how they win games.
Has Jaden even perhaps exceeded whatever expectations y'all had of him first arriving when it is arguably the most difficult position to play in the defense? What has he brought in what he's done so far, maybe even exceeded what you thought he could do coming into it? Yeah,
I don't think he's exceeded our expectations, but he's been exactly what we hoped he would be. It's a difficult position to play star and to play it the way he's played it. He operates with a competitive spirit every day. I think it starts there. The way the guy practices is how he plays. He competes every play. The next play is the most important play for him, and he's been really sticky in coverage and dynamic for us in a lot of different ways.
There was a report earlier this morning that Dakota Fields has entered the transfer portal. I wonder if you could confirm that and just speak to what his time meant here.
He didn't come to work today. We haven't talked to Dakota, so I guess that's the way it goes nowadays.
You mentioned Mateo's productivity off the edge, but it's been really good for Tatum over the last couple of weeks too. How do you think just having those guys sets each other up off the edge to have multiple options that offensive line has to potentially slide to or something like that? Yeah, I think having good players, creates that. And I think everybody always looks at the edge position and says sacks, and sacks isn't the biggest indicator of production for us. I mean, and if they're focusing on one, that creates opportunities for another. But I mean, the Wisconsin game, I think we had 7 pass opportunities to create a sack, or there weren't that many drop back opportunities, but certainly having good players, which we do, right, creates opportunities for guys across the board.
Oregon football head coach Dan Lanning getting the Ducks ready for Iowa. 12:30 kickoff coming up on CBS. 10:30 pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network. Coming up, we're checking in with our sideline reporter Dusty Hera on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
We just kind of knew from the beginning that we were family.
They showcased a sense of love that I never had before. I mean, he's not only my parent, like he's like my best friend.
At the end of the day, it's all been worth it. I wouldn't change a thing about our lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Dusty Hera, always running around on the sideline at Autzen, now coming up at Kinnick. We begin our conversation there. Dusty was down here for practice yesterday. We got the chance to catch up with our annual and weekly and monthly, really all the time, sideline update with Dusty Hera. It's Tuesday. Dusty Harrah's here. You're hearing this on a Wednesday. At this point, we will know the outcome of the men's basketball opener.
Things went really well for the Ducks.
He's Dusty Hera, Oregon football sideline reporter, is with us. Are you excited to go to Iowa? Have you been there before?
I've never been to Iowa before. This is my first trip to Iowa. I'm excited. I'm excited to see Iowa. Kinnick Stadium is actually a bucket list stadium for me.
Why?
Yeah, it is. Because, like, growing up, I heard about the pink locker room, the visiting team's pink locker room. And now, like, as it's always kind of grown, like, the Hawkeyes always were, like, Pittsburgh Steelers of college. Their uniforms look like it. They always played, the grind-em-out style of play. They've always kind of played the same style of football. And then now it is you have the wave in between the third and fourth quarter. Like, that's going to be awesome. Those things are all really cool.
I'm really excited, actually, for the end of the first quarter. That's an emotional tradition, right? When you look up at the Children's Hospital.
Oh, yeah, the first quarter, not the third quarter.
But that's going to be – I don't know. That's one that I've often been somebody that has said part of why I loved sports growing up and have continued to work in sports is that it's one of the things that brings everybody together, right? Like, there's a monoculture around sports, and this is one of the greatest examples, in my opinion, of, like, that transcending sports moment. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be a cool experience.
I am too. It really is one of the cooler traditions in all of sports, let alone college football, which has tradition all over the place.
Over the place.
And to take that moment to pay respect to the Children's Hospital and to wave to the patients. It's really cool. It's neat. I can't wait to see it and be a part of it, because you're right in that there are things in sports that transcend the games itself, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
It's something that can be galvanizing, but also sports, as we know, can rip rip people apart and families apart. We see house divided signs, but this is one that can bring everybody together in the middle of a football game.
Right.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I have been to Iowa, been there for basketball, and been there for baseball.
All right.
Mostly good memories.
Okay.
Last time I was there, Oregon baseball won a Big Ten regular season championship.
And that was a series that meant a ton coming down to the end.
It was cool that one fell at the end of the season, just with the way that it worked out. The two teams that were in the top 3 heading into the weekend. And I got to say, I felt a little bad for our Hawkeye brethren on the other side. Like, they just had to win one.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not. Shout out to Mark Wazakowski's Ducks
for
getting that done, right?
That's right.
But there were, I thought, some really fun scouting reports that I was able to gain from that. So the baseball stadium is in the shadow of the football stadium, and that complex is cool. So any Duck fans that are making the trip out, I look forward to seeing some Duck fans out there. And I wanted to ask you that because you're on the sideline, and so it's a different feel. We've talked about this a little bit, that it is a different feeling being on the sideline, to not only feel the team, but to feel the fans and what the road environment is like. I think this will be a great road environment, but also Duck fans have continued to show out this year.
Boy, it's been impressive everywhere we've been, really the last 2 seasons, whether it was Purdue last year, where on a Friday night, fans showed out in droves. Michigan was a great one last year as well with the visiting fans, Wisconsin as well. This year, going to Northwestern and seeing a split that was closer to 50-50 than anybody anticipated. And then obviously we all saw it on the Penn State game, the upper corner of that stadium that holds 110,000 was all green and yellow. And then Rutgers, the fans showed out at Rutgers as well. It's really cool to see how many Duck fans there are across the country, whether they're alums or they're people that have just gravitated towards the University of Oregon, whether it's the uniforms, the style of play. There's a lot of Duck fans everywhere, and we're expecting a lot more in the Midwest. Iowa, here we come again.
We've emphasized some of this in Ducks versus them and on our broadcast, certainly, but I think you have a unique perspective of, like, when you're around the sideline, the team feels that. Everyone, like,
you can hear them.
Yeah, don't underestimate the difference that can make, because I do expect this to be a tremendous environment. This was a game heading into the season. I'd be curious if you were this way too. Heading into the season, I circled this one. Yep. I admit it. Yes, the broadcasters do that. The coaches do not. Disclaimer. This is one I circled, though, not just because of the tradition and that I'm excited to be there, but because of the respect that I have for Iowa. And it seems like Iowa just always gets somebody at home every season, doesn't it?
They do, and it's a really good football team. They're really well coached. They have a rich tradition. And I think and I know this from some of the people that I know, they immediately got priced out of going to Penn State.
Really?
And so then it was, all right, what's the next best one to go to?
Go to Iowa.
And then Iowa was it, and that was an easy one. And I know a handful of people that are going to this game, and it's going to be loud, it's going to be raucous, it's a sellout, but Duck fans are going to be there. And if you don't think that it makes a difference, you're wrong, because it does. And you can hear the Go Ducks chants in the crowd. You can hear, when the opposing offense is in their home stadium and they expect silence, you hear these roars of "oh" come through. It's not as loud as Autzen, but you can hear it, and the fans do make a difference.
Yeah. He's Dusty Hera, talking Oregon football, getting ready for Iowa. I describe Iowa as similar to the Utah of the Pac-12 in that they're physical, longtime coach, well-coached, and every year if there's a pundit that says, oh, they're going to win 6 this year, they go and win 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's a pundit, oh, they're going to go undefeated this year, it seems like they usually win like 10 or 11, 9, 10, or 11. They are so consistent in being an elite team. I think a lot of it comes back to the defense. If you're fundamentally sound in defense, you're going to have some success. Their offense, statistics will tell you, has struggled at times. But, man, they are so consistent. So consistent.
And they are really good in the trenches, and that's how you can be consistent when, on the outside, whether it's talking heads, pundits, whatever you want to call them, they'll look at it and say, well, they're just not dynamic in the skill positions. No, you win football games in the trenches, and their defensive line is one of the best in the country. They're one of the best rush defenses in the entire nation. Their offensive line is always good, always churning out NFL prospects. There's a reason for it. They're really well coached. That is their history. That is their tradition that they have there, is developing both lines of scrimmage. And that keeps you in every game. Yeah. And when games are won and lost on the margins, as you're saying, that consistency comes from how good they are. And, boy, are they dynamic on the offensive and defensive lines. They may not be dynamic as playmakers on the edges, but where it matters the most, that's how you keep games close. And then you add the element of the special teams, very similar to what Utah, as you mentioned, but even better in the special teams. They have the fans that wear T-shirts or sweatshirts that just say punts on it. Well, there's a reason for it, because they're really good in that facet of the game. They will flip the field, make it hard for you, and want you to sit there and say, all right, if we make you go 90 yards, we're banking on our defense that will force a mistake over a 10, 11, 12-play drive. And that's where they thrive. I mean, that's the hard part about playing Iowa and going on the road to play them, too.
You brought up a great point that this is a team that focuses on special teams, and I feel like field position is maybe my biggest key in this game, because both punters can impact the game, and also both return games can impact the game. I mean, Oregon,
no doubt.
Look, admittedly, like the Ducks have had a couple drops on punt returns this year, and to me, this is a game where you have to execute in that category. And I think about Joe Lorig talking all the time, Duck special teams coordinator, about you have to make sure field position's where you want to be. You got to take care of the ball. I think that is a huge key in this game. Whoever wins on special teams may win the contest.
And we've talked about it on the broadcast several times because of Joe Lorig's appearance on the Coaches Show, where he talked about hidden yardage. And that's going to be huge in this game. And that's one of the things that where you look at total yards of an Iowa offense, and you go, well, they just don't have a lot. Well, that's because they flip the field on you, and they get favorable field position a lot of times. They don't have a dynamic downfield passing game, but they make up for it with the screen game as an extension of their run game and a play-action game as a counter to their run game. That's where their passing yards go, but make no mistake, they want to run the football, and they want to control the clock. They want to control the speed of the game, and you do that with flipping the field and creating shorter fields for your offense. And look, they create a ton of turnovers too.
They do.
And that is the other thing, is that when you're creating turnovers, it's not like you're always pinning the other team back and they're crossing over and you're getting the ball in the red zone turnovers. It's short field turnovers that they get.
It's amazing to think about the idea of styles making fights too, and how you and I have talked about this a lot as we talk with Dusty Hera here. I think that this is a game where it's interesting, because you talk about the styles make fights. Defense is physical. The more physical team's going to win, et cetera, et cetera. But Oregon has this explosive offense. I think sometimes the national narrative becomes, well, that's the fight. Well, I want to then flip that and say, what about Oregon's defense? Oregon's got the number one pass defense in a lot of different metrics right now. It's an Iowa team that doesn't really like to throw the ball much, but a quarterback that's mobile, they can run the ball. As you alluded to, Dusty, like maybe that's the style that makes a fight.
Well, and that's kind of there's been this reframing of how people think of Oregon football, because it was always explosive plays,
flashy,
and it was having drives that were under 2 minutes and you're scoring. Well, you look at, and I know there was a lot of frustration within the fan base of what happened in the Wisconsin game.
Right.
Well, a 12-play, 99-yard drive that took up 7.5 minutes is pretty dang good to see heading into a week like this one against Iowa, where that's what they want to do. It is, and that's what you do. I mean, it is. We heard it in the Penn State game, right? The cuts. Coach Lanning was talking about those cuts. Every single one of those plays on a drive is a cut, and that 99-yard drive that takes that much time off the clock, that is where Iowa says we want to force a mistake by you. And Oregon in that drive said, no, we're going to play mistake-free, and that's a tough thing to do. It is really hard for any team, whether you're in high school, college, pro, to put together a drive like that, and those things are good to see because Oregon has had to grind out some drives. We've also seen them play explosive, which means that they are a team and their style is adaptable to whomever they're playing against.
10:30 a.m. Pacific time, our pregame show at 12:30 kickoff on CBS. Oregon visiting Iowa. Dusty will be roaming the sidelines. It will be dry.
Drier than the last game. We know that. No, come on. Yes. I don't think that we're going to get that much rain.
You were just saying at practice today how much the forecast has been changing.
Yeah, I know. But, look, if you're not optimistic, what are you? You know?
You're a realist.
You got. I'm going to be optimistic on this one. I'm going to be optimistic.
Dusty wore 2 coats last week.
I did, and I'm going to bring 2 more this week, too.
Smart.
Just in case.
Prepared. Dusty Hera.
Just in case the realist gets in the way of my optimism.
Prepared. He'll be on the sidelines again. 12:30 kickoff coming up. Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
Dusty Hera, also a realist. Timeout. Coming back to Duck Insider after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love. Would you spread
Duck Insider is presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio talking about defense. Boy, I'll tell you what, might be the 2 best defenses in the conference. Could be the 2 best defenses in the country. A lot of the metrics back that up. 2 teams that want to play a physical brand of football. And maybe none more so than Dylan Thieneman. Just listen to the way that the Oregon safety describes how this game's going to go. And he's been there before. Dylan Thieneman previewing Oregon, Iowa.
Facing an offense that is so prolific and kind of leans one way in the run, what's that change in terms of kind of your responsibility as a safety in a game like this?
Just got to make sure my eye's in the right spot, and then just on-snap footwork and being technical, ready to come down and like kind of set the edge for the run and add in. Make sure we have enough hats, and then if it's like play action or pass, then get deep, play the pass. So nothing really changes too much.
As good as you guys have been in preventing teams from getting to the red zone, obviously when they get there, it's been a bit of a struggle. Mm-hmm. What, over the last couple of weeks, have you guys been working on to get better results once you do get down there? Because obviously, again, the main goal is not letting them down there, and you really haven't let them get down there in the first place. But when they do, opposing offenses are having some success. So what's been the things you've been working on to get better results once you do get down there?
We've been adding some new calls, having some better communication, and then in practice, Coach Lanning and the other coaches have been putting us in situations where we get to kind of rep that like a game feel. So like whether it's like move the field or we're doing like a specific red zone period, kind of making it a little more game-like, so we get that practice before we get to the real game.
Stats suggest their quarterback's a pretty good runner. What do you see on film in terms of what kind of a runner he is, and then kind of what stands out about how he does run the football?
He's versatile, so I mean he can move, he can run a little bit. He's a bigger guy, so like red zone and some of those key downs like short yardage, just be alert for some like QB draw or design QB runs. So it definitely adds another layer to their offense. But I think we can prepare, we can be ready for it.
Just kind of bouncing off that question, how do you kind of prepare for a mobile quarterback? Is it more like a tendency type of thing from him, or is it like a read and react when it comes to mobile quarterbacks?
Depends on the play. So like if it's like a scramble or a boot play, like more pocket passers or guys that like look to pass, you can still play a little more in coverage. But when you have someone that can scramble, you just got coverage, and you just got to be ready to once he passes the line of scrimmage, come down, help out the run. And then certain situations like short yardage, red zone, as what I just said, just be ready for any like QB like naked or design QB draw, QB runs.
Iowa has a lot of on a lot of their big plays. They're very good at getting the offensive linemen to the second and third levels. You know, you being a second and third level player a lot of the time. What have you seen from them, and how can you kind of prevent that?
I think it just starts with our guys up front on defense, just kind of just wreaking havoc and doing their job and just playing physical, playing violent. If they play physical, they play violent. Their linemen can't get up to the next level, and kind of like some guys play free. So I think if we all work together as a defense, we play violent, we do our job, I think we'll be good.
Yeah, going back to the quarterback, I know his passing numbers aren't prolific, but what does stand out about when they do air it out, when they decide to throw the ball?
A lot of play action, so he is a pretty strong arm, so he can throw the deep ball, and he's good at throwing on the run too. So you get the boot or the sprint out or that sort of action. Yeah, like they're not a huge like intermediate routes team, so it's more of like quick game and shots.
As somebody who's played at Kinnick, what are the I don't want to say necessarily challenges, but the things that do make it unique in terms of just how close the fans are to you throughout the whole stadium? My understanding. The pink locker room, like what are the things that are unique that either enjoyable as a player, like do you appreciate the fact that like, yeah, they are on top of you, that's a thing like as a road team, or do you not like that because they literally can reach out and touch you?
Yeah, I mean like them being right there can be a little annoying sometimes, but I've always liked playing on the road. It's like you and your boys against everyone else, like the whole stadium's rooting against you. So I like it, how like close it is and how loud it can get, and the atmosphere they create there. So I think it's a really cool experience.
Yeah, just going back a little bit to containing that quarterback. As a safety, how do you balance the aggressiveness of wanting to help contain the quarterback without compromising pass coverage at the same time?
Yeah, just on certain coverages, just know what you can help in and what your job is supposed to do. So if I'm supposed to be deep, I can help out for the deep routes, and maybe the D-line or the linebackers have contained on the quarterback. So just understanding on coverage, what's my job, what's my secondary responsibility, and where can I help out on, whether it's pass or whether it's coming up for the QB.
Kind of a two-parter on special teams, Dylan, but one, when the motto on special teams has changed the game, when you have a punter who's been doing what he's doing, and you're part of punt coverage, obviously, like how awesome is that? Like when you're part of coverage and he's just knocking the ball down inside the 5, and like it turns into an exciting play, obviously, and a really game-changing play. And to go into this week as a second parter, when you're going up against what could be the best return man in the country as part of the coverage team, how do you approach that challenge, and what makes Wetchen good in that role?
I say he's just good when he gets the ball in his hands. Like he's going to be aggressive. He's going to go catch the ball. And then, he's going to try to return to the field, just return, get yards. He's pretty explosive, kind of shifty, so just got to run down there, do my job, let the punter do his job. I mean, I think he's one of the best punters I've been around, and I think Punch is very, very excited. Like, it's my favorite special teams to be on, and so just be there with them and just some of my other boys out there, and we just do our job and contain them.
Is there a certain excitement as a player when this is a battle of two top 10 defenses, and maybe two of the very best in the country? Like, as a defensive guy, when we all talk about quarterbacks and offense and points and all that kind of thing, like, but entering a game like that, is this kind of like the Big Ten style of game that like you appreciate most because it is just two elite defenses who do what they do and don't allow passes over the top, and it's just going to be played in a pretty confined space, stylistically speaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like that old time Big Ten football. So it's like smash mouth, ready to come down, set the edge for the run. And it's like Iowa's a very traditional team. They've a coach, I think he's the winningest head coach Big Ten. So a lot of tradition there, and I'm excited for the matchup.
Dylan Thieneman talking about Oregon and Iowa. Coming back after this, let's review a little basketball. The Ducks are 1-0. Coming back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now, so good to see you real.
It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. So Oregon basketball opening the season last night, 60-59, the final. Oregon men's basketball able to get it done. A clunky game, though, to say the least. Oregon turned it over 21 times. That was the most in the Joey Mack era of calling Oregon men's basketball. Most in about 12 years that the Ducks have had. And look, no Jackson Shellstad. And the Ducks had a double-digit lead, and then KJ Evans got hurt in the second half. Didn't return. Coach Altman seemed to think it wasn't going to be a long-term thing for KJ Evans postgame. But there's no doubt it was a clunky game. But Takai Simpkins showed some real bright spots. 18 points. Rose to the occasion. Kissed it off the glass for 2 points. Ducks held on defensively, won the game 60-59. I think, though, anyone who has been around the last 15 years of the Dana Altman era of Oregon basketball, you have a pretty good idea how this postgame press conference with Coach Altman's going to sound.
Well, we were trying to get just a ball screen at the top and get Nate rolling down. Obviously, I wish we'd have rebounded like that all game. We really went after those last two possessions, kept the ball alive, had some looks, just couldn't get anything. Didn't shoot it well from three, obviously, 2 for 16. Didn't shoot it well from the free throw line, 60%. But the 21 turnovers, we just didn't give ourselves opportunities. And it started right from the start. We just had 12, 13 turnovers first half. They doubled Nate the first time. We knew the double was coming and just turns it over. Just playing the game straight up and down and not with much confidence, but to get confidence, you got to get your base down and you got to play hard, and we were a little straight up and down.
Do you have any update on KJ?
No, I don't. He was walking in the locker room. I'm not sure, but I'll talk to Clay when we're done.
How do you evaluate Linway's game ever since he joined the team? All the games he has played for you guys. How do you evaluate Linway's game, and is there anything you want him to work on?
Well, obviously, he's got to get us into some sets. He's having a hard time. He's only been here a month. He's really having a hard time getting us into some sets. I think it affected him tonight when he missed shots. He started shaking his head and didn't play real confident, after he missed those shots. He'll be fine. He's got a long way to go. Obviously, the turnovers, he had been handling it pretty good. He was 4 assists and no turnovers in our first exhibition, 4 assists and 1 turnover in our second. But tonight he flipped those numbers around. He'll be fine. It's a learning process. It's a different game than what he's used to playing. And obviously he struggled tonight, but he gets a couple shots down and gets moving a little bit. He'll be fine.
Earlier in the week, you talked about transition offense and wanting to get good shots off the transition. Where do you feel that, did you guys think that you improved off the preseason from today, and how do you get better in terms of creating?
No, our transition, we're not running. We're not pushing the ball. And then when we did, we turned it over, So we got to make a lot better decisions in transition. Obviously, our ball handling by everyone. It's just not the guards, it's the posts, it's everybody. Drew was the only one who didn't have a turnover. Everybody else, found a way to cough the ball up. So we got a lot of work to do. Obviously disappointed in where we're at on November 4th. We were very fortunate, to win the game. But, that falls back on me, trying to get guys in position and get guys tougher on the defensive end, tougher on the boards. Until those last couple possessions, the rebounding was even. We've got to do a better job there.
What positives do you take away from tonight?
Well, we found a way to win. I thought Drew handled the ball a little bit, gave us some stability there. Like the rest of the guys, had a couple good looks, just didn't knock him down. But, the plus and minus I always take with a grain of salt, but he was plus 13. He had that good stretch in the first half where we finally got some ball movement and didn't turn it over, and scored, I think, 5 or 6 possessions or something in that stretch. Just because simply got the ball moving and got shot opportunities because we didn't turn it over.
How pivotal were Sipkins' kind of straight line drives and ability to get to the rim? I felt like that was a big
Yeah, no, he got to the basket. He's got to do a better job of finishing, hitting his free throws. We didn't shoot free throws well. We could have put ourselves in a great position there with some free throws in that second half. But no, he did get to the basket some, and that last drive, he nosed to the goal pretty strong.
Again, can you lean on Drew over these next 1, 2, whatever it is, 3 games, but while Jackson's out there?
Oh, we're going to have to. We're going to have to just to get us in some sets and run some stuff. I think he understands what we're trying to do. So yeah, if he can just run it and move the ball and just look for wide open shots, not try to force anything. I think he took 1 at the end of a shot clock, and but you just got to simplify his game like all our guys do.
What did you see from the pick and roll tonight, especially when Nate was involved?
We're not rolling hard enough to the basket. Our guys want to step out and shoot threes. We got to set better picks. We got to get going to the basket. We got to put a little pressure on the defense. They did a much better job than we did. Their guards got going downhill, and they set better picks, and their guys were rolling better than ours. We didn't talk on a couple switches, gave up a couple wide open threes. The play that KJ goes down on, we weren't in scramble mode at all. Everybody just stood around. Well, I got my guy, and we got KJ laying there, and they hit a wide open three. It kind of started the whole. I think at that time we were up 14, and you know, that's where it kind of all started to unravel.
You think that unravel was part just kind of seeing KJ get held
No,
up?
we, you know, like I said, we struggled the whole game with turnovers, and then obviously we had some really bad ones there, you know, down the stretch.
The game starts how it did with the clock malfunctions. How tough is that to kind of overcome a little bit?
You know, they had to. You know, is what it is. It was comical, you know, just trying to get the game started, but you know, we got it figured out. So.
Two more?
Yeah.
You mentioned the other day that Jackson was going to be seeing the doctor today. Did you get any sort of update on him?
You know, everything looks good. I think, you know, they're going to talk with his parents and talk with the doctors again, and, you know, maybe start doing some non-contact stuff. So, but we obviously need him. He runs our stuff. He knows our stuff, and I think he can get us organized, and we can start running some stuff.
You mentioned last question. You mentioned that this was sort of a disappointment to see this team on November 4th. I know it's only game one, but is it an area of concern, do you feel, just the way that just the overall performance?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, when you don't play well in a number of areas, you don't shoot free throws well, the ball movement's not good, you know, not playing with much confidence, and we had some experienced players not playing with a lot of confidence. So, yeah, no, we're really concerned. You know, we were concerned after Stanford, and that game didn't calm us down any. You know, we got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do, but it's still the first game of the season. Rice in town on Friday. A more athletic team, Rice. The Owls will bring in a, I think, killer mentality here, especially with the Ducks turning the ball over the way they did. To me, that's the biggest thing. It's the turnovers. I know a lot of folks are curious about, you know, KJ Evans and if that impacted the Ducks. And Hawaii went on a 9-0 run after that, but as Coach Altman said, like it felt like it snowballed to that point. But Oregon found a way to win the game. That's what you have to do. Remember last year, that team that went to the round of 32 and had a chance to go to the Sweet 16? They were down by 9 in the waning minutes to Portland. Came back, won the game. Found a way. Sometimes you're going to have games like that. You have to do it. But certainly getting Jackson Shellstad back healthy will help. Nate Biddle, also a veteran who has been through this with Coach Altman. He talked after the winner by 1 to move to 1-0 last night.
They walked us through the final possession there. Dana was saying that it was kind of drawn up for you to roll down, and obviously, you know, it gets around from a 3 to Drew and a long rebound and the like. Just walk us through what you're seeing and how big a shot that was for TK.
Yeah, you know, first of all, you know, I think we got like 4 or 5 offensive rebounds, you know, off missed shots right there on the final possession. So, you know, we were crashing the glass, you know, really hard. We needed that last bucket. And then, you know, TK had it going all game, got downhill to his right hand and, you know, hit a clutch shot. And then, you know, we had to get a stop there to end it. But, you know, first game, everybody's got the jitters, get them out. You know, it wasn't as pretty as we wanted it to be, but, you know, we got the win and, you know, we're looking on.
Nate, midway through the second half, it looked like you guys were starting to take control of the game. And, you know, kind of what happened in the final 10 minutes that allowed them to get back into it and take that lead?
Yeah, they got a couple easy buckets. You know, we kind of stopped talking there on defense for a little bit. So that's something that, you know, we got to improve on. And then, you know, offensively, kind of ball just got kind of a little stagnant there for a little bit. You know, not 5 passes, 3 sides like we wanted to do. But, you know, we'll learn from this film and, you know, go and get ready for the next game.
What's the mood like in the locker room right now? Is it frustration? Is it relief? I guess.
I mean, everybody's pretty happy. You know, it's like I said, it's our first game. We got out there with a win. But you know, it wasn't as pretty as we wanted it to be. But you know, I mean, guys are you know, some guys are mad, some guys are not. But you know, in there, it's gonna be fine. You know, we're all good. You know, we got a whole new team. You know, KJ went out there in the second half, and you know, we'll all learn from this.
What would you say about the team's defensive performance tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think we showed times of being a good defensive team and times of being a bad defensive team. You know, like I said, with our communication, our switches there in the second half, and then a couple easy buckets, offensive rebound putbacks, and stuff like that. I mean, we'll learn.
wanted to ask you about your battles with Isaac back down there. That kind of reminds you of practice from 4 or 5 years ago. What was it like playing against him?
Yeah, it was a lot different because, we both as freshmen were kind of on the scout team and stuff like that. But it was fun. He's going to have a good season over there. Excited for him. Go and watch him. And best of luck to him.
Just what was it like seeing KJ go down at that moment? He's held off, not putting any weight down, and it sounds like he's walking around a little bit. So at first, what are you thinking? And if you've gotten a chance to see him walking around looking?
Yeah, first thought is, I hope he's okay. He's a big piece of our team, but ultimately, with or without KJ going into this next game, we're gonna have to learn. And if KJ's there, I seen him in the locker room putting a little bit of weight on it, but it's probably gonna be sore, for a little bit after he twisted it or what he did to it. I wasn't sure. I didn't really see it. But KJ will bounce back, and if he's good, he's good, and
There's Nate Biddle breaking it down. And that, doesn't Nate Biddle just sound like a Dana Altman veteran now? At times, demonstrated could be a good defensive team. At times, not a good defensive team. I swear I could hear Coach Altman saying that as he said it. Couldn't you, Scott? I mean it when I say I know that it's often this way. It's a Dana Altman Rubik's Cube alignment thing, right? In February and March after Valentine's Day, the Ducks always get better. Look, I know it, but when you have injuries like you do, and then you have a guy like Nate Biddle who's saying those sorts of things, you got to just play the games. Get into the season. I think that there's going to be an improvement coming up on Friday against Rice. Timeout. When we return, a little bit more Oregon football as student-athletes continue to preview this matchup at Iowa. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Well, we've heard from Coach Lanning, Dusty Hera, Dylan Thieneman, shifting gears to basketball, talking with Coach Altman after the win last night. How about Malik Benson? He met with the media after practice today. Duck wide receiver, Ducks would like to see him take the top off of an Iowa defense that just doesn't let the top come off very often. Malik Benson previewing the game.
Malik is just, this is an offense that, that everybody's talked about being really strong. The explosive game, you guys want multiple explosive opportunities per quarter. How do you factor into the plan? And just what's your ability as somebody who can really stretch the field against an Iowa team that's one of the better teams in the nation at limiting those opportunities?
Just really being at my spots and my depths for the quarterback. And, just when we call a play, just, being able to help my guys, just know what we got and things like that.
Is there something, Malik, against look, better competition makes it hard to have success. That's a given, both ways, for both sides of the ball. But is there something that y'all noticed by way of where it was harder to have some success offensively, particularly in the passing game against some of the better defenses so far? Is there a commonality? Is there a way corners are playing you or coverage-wise that's just making it harder at times? I'm not putting it all on you, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Now, we just got a lot of guys that, can go vertical and vertical fast. So, when we go against teams, we see a lot of deep coverages and, they're just backed up a lot. So, it's just really on us, just not just trying to press too much. I feel like sometimes we press a little bit, but just knowing we just got to execute, whatever play's called and just handle business.
Yeah, like you said, you mentioned being a team that likes to stretch vertically. When you are that team and you can't do that at times, how do you try to find that underneath passing game and find those options to make it easier for Dante and just sit in zones and stuff like that?
It's really just finding, just throughout the week, finding, plays that Dante likes and just being able to get on the same page as him and just know where we need to sit in the zones and things like that for him. And then also running the ball too helps with, taking shots and things like that.
When you thought of the Big Ten before coming out here, in particular, and joining the league, what was like your impression or your perception of like what was prototypical Big Ten football and what is playing a defense that is known for what they're known for in this kind of setting? Like, does this kind of opportunity excite you when there's a kind of opponent like this that plays this kind of way?
Well, the Big Ten is a really good conference, so just getting to play good teams every single week, smash mouth football and things like that. But, going to hostile environments, Iowa's stands and things like that, very close. So that's going to be a challenge for us. But, we're well prepared and we understand things like that.
Malik Benson, Duck wide receiver. I've been saying I think this game's going to come down to special teams because of the focus that both teams put on special teams and how talented they both are and how well coached they both are. I just think field position becomes such a critical factor because – as Malik Benson's saying, like if the Ducks can hit one or two explosive plays, take the top off, go behind the secondary, if you do that a couple times against Iowa, I think you like Oregon's chances because Oregon's defense has been so sound. So is Iowa's. Whoever's going to have those explosions on offense, that might make a difference. To me, though, if you play the odds that neither team gives up a lot of that field position battle, who's going to win it? We'll break it down with the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin, tomorrow. Coach Show tonight.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting